At the very outset, I would like to convey my greetings and warm regards to all the honorable resource persons, guest speakers, organizing committee, team CUG of this research conclave, and my fellow research scholars. Title of my research paper is An Outlook, Kalol Block Upper Primary Teachers of English on Vocabulary. It was an exploratory research as part of my doctoral study. As we all know that vocabulary acquisition is vital or very important for language learners, and teachers must be aware or to know appropriate teaching methodology and strategies. And in order to know this particular fact, I set out on this research. So it was an exploratory research which involved both quantitative and qualitative methodologies. So it was a mixed method design. Objectives of my study were to study the teacher's outlook on vocabulary in English, to know different strategies used by teachers for teaching vocabulary. Third was to know how teachers evaluate vocabulary in English, and finally to know the challenges faced by the teachers while teaching vocabulary and how they overcome those challenges. Followed by the research questions. First one, what are the views of teachers on teaching of vocabulary and evaluation of vocabulary? What are the different techniques and strategies used by the teachers to teach vocabulary? And finally, the challenges faced by teachers while dealing with the vocabulary. Now, when we talk about methods and procedure, it was a survey type study with a mixed method design. Population for my study were approx 72 upper primary teachers teaching English language in class 6 of government upper primary schools of Kalol block, Gandhinagar district. When I talk about sample, I wanted to consider the whole population of 72 teachers as my sample, but maybe because of vacation or lack of technical support, or let's say disinterest, or due to unknown reasons, I could only manage to get response from 27 teachers only who responded to my questionnaire. So they formed the sample of my present study. Tools. The tool was the online survey using the Google form facility. I titled my questionnaire, which I constructed, ELT questionnaire, which consisted 20 open as well as close-ended questions. Delimitation of the study is the English language teachers teaching English in Kalol block, Gandhinagar district. Data was collected through online mode, Google form, and analysis was done using frequency percentage and content analysis. Now, the ELT questionnaire which I circulated as for survey purpose is here for your perusal. Somehow because of technical glitch, I could not hyperlink it over here. So I would be reading out little quickly. It had initially the basic details of teachers like gender, their name, age, educational, professional qualification, school, its location, their teaching experience, subjects they taught, mobile number, and finally the questionnaire starts. First question being what aspect of ELT is most important for the students. 4 options were grammar, expression, fluency in vocabulary, then how much vocabulary or word bank they assume their students have in the beginning of the academic year, wherein 4 options with the 5th one blank left on to them to provide their own answer, and then by the end of the academic year, how many words do they think that their students have. Fourth question was, how much time do they usually spend on teaching vocabulary? Again, the open-ended option, fourth option, was also provided to them. And how much importance do they give to vocabulary in English language? Sixth one required them to rate 9 items for teaching vocabulary, like flashcards, pictures, videos, drawing on blackboard, translation, examples, expressions, using real objects or realia and real life experiences. Seventh question wanted them to rate the use of these methods while evaluation, like dictation, matching pictures with words, fill-ups, jumbled letters, complete the spelling, odd one out, and identify the correct spelling. Eighth question wanted them to rate 3 statements. Which were whether students must memorize the vocabulary. Second statement was, is it necessary to translate the vocabulary into students' mother tongue? And the third statement was whether vocabulary should be taught in discourse and not as separate exercise. So what they feel about these statements on the scale of 10 point. Then followed by ninth question, how do you assess or evaluate your students? It was an open-ended question, whether they have received any training to teach vocabulary. 11th, how do you teach vocabulary for particular lesson? 12th, which are the different techniques or strategies they use to teach vocabulary? Next, which is the most effective technique they use to teach vocabulary? Which are the challenges they face while teaching vocabulary? 15th, how do you overcome those challenges? If they have thought of any ideas, they could have replied over here. 16th, list out some words from textbook which they thought must for students of class 6. Their views on teaching and evaluation of vocabulary. 18th, as per their experience, they were required to mention teaching styles and strategies to ensure long-lasting and rich vocabulary. And 19th was whether the amount of vocabulary learnt affects the language learning pace of a student in any form. And finally, their views on importance of vocabulary. So this was the questionnaire which I circulated amongst the teachers to respond to. Now my findings and discussion. Actually, the chart and the table is provided with the complete paper, but here major findings have been listed. In total, 27 teachers responded to my questionnaire, out of which major findings are listed over here. Mostly teachers found pictures, flashcards and videos as most important, followed by the examples and real life experiences shared for vocabulary teaching purpose. Secondly, the vocabulary evaluation was mostly preferred by using matching pictures with words, identifying correct spellings, jumbled letters and odd one out, whereas dictation and complete the spelling were least preferred. Most teachers showed mixed opinion towards the statement that students must memorize the vocabulary, and mostly teachers agreed to this statement that we need to translate the new words in students' mother tongue, whereas majority of teachers showed strong agreement to the statement that vocabulary should be taught as a discourse and not as a separate exercise, means along with the regular teaching of the subject. For evaluation, most teachers' responses revolved around spelling test, dictionary games and matching the pairs. Many teachers also mentioned about observation and monitoring the situational usage of words by students. Finally, most teachers mentioned about pictures, videos, YouTube and other visual inputs while dealing with vocabulary. Some teachers mentioned about crossword and other word memory games like Antakshari or word ending game, and more usage of English in classroom. Thus, findings reveal teaching and evaluation strategies mostly used by the teachers and effective in acquisition of vocabulary in English. It also indicated that primary element in learning a language is the acquisition of the vocabulary using different techniques and strategies. So on the basis of this survey, it can be concluded that majority of teachers are trying their best to increase vocabulary of the students, and this study will be helpful for language teachers in general, because most of the teachers over here in Gujarat who are employed as language teachers also deal with other languages like Hindi, Gujarati and Sanskrit. So strategies and techniques discussed in the study may be applicable to other languages and other subjects besides English. It can also be helpful to overcome the anticipated problems and challenges. And overall, I find this study as a step to reach the goal of language teachers to enrich the ELT and in particular the English as second language. Thank you all.